So here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives, but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question. And Dr. Steve Schlintz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schlintz, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. And wow, what a last couple of weeks it's been. I'm actually recording this episode out of my dental practice. I've never done that before, but it has been absolutely crazy the last few weeks. A lot of moving parts for me, and they're all kind of coming to a head right now. So I'm just trying to keep my head above water. And it's fun. And I was thinking about, how are some of the things that I'm doing right now relating to you, the listener, if you're in your dental practice, excuse me, and trying to figure this all out. Sorry, I try not to drink while I'm doing these podcast episodes, but I thought I was going to die there. So let me give you an update of currently what's been going on in my life. I'm working about two full clinical days in my practice in North Carolina. It's Monday, half day, full day Tuesday, Wednesday, half day, keeping the profitability up there. And that's been a little bit of a challenge. Going from 4 days to 3 days was pretty easy. Going from 3 days down to 2 days has been a little bit more challenging. As you guys know, I am really trying to niche my practice further and further into the wellness arena as, to me, becoming a product of the product. I see the writing on the wall for a lot of general dentists that are not doing that. If you do not have a practice that's built on that side of things, you better have a well-oiled machine that has either multiple locations, group dynamics, something of that nature. And if you're trying to stay out of the dental insurance game, you have to start looking towards wellness, guys. I'm telling you, that's the answer to all of it. And we had 4 new patients today, and 2 or 3 of them were specifically coming in for a more wellness-oriented approach. And so that part of my practice, really getting back to the basics on what do we do as a practice, what are we as a practice, and how do we best help our patients, and what are things we don't do. And knowing that is as important as knowing what we do. And so that's been good. And then now I'm starting to see some patients up in Philadelphia, which has really, honestly, and that's what this podcast episode is going to be about, is creating systems that truly mimic what you do. The cool part is seeing patients up in Philadelphia out of another practice. It has kind of lit a fire under my butt, for lack of a better term, because now it's like, okay, I know what we do in our practice that works really well. And now that I have to take the show on the road, so to speak, I now have to replicate everything that I'm doing and then bring it into a package that I could put it into any practice. And that has infinitely, just in the last few weeks, really got me focused back on systems and how do things work in tandem, and how do we take patients through, and what are the things that we actually need to do these kind of cases on a regular basis. And it's been a lot of fun. It's reignited my passion for wellness-based dentistry again. It's given me another way to be able to contribute to the dental profession, and it's also given me another way to be able to contribute to my clients that are trying to do similar things, because when I go through these things myself, I see what works, what doesn't work, what are the logistics behind it, and it's going to come back into my own practice and make my practice better. I love my team. I think my team is phenomenal, and they've really stepped up to the plate to buy into this as well, and really embrace the fact that I could practice in multiple states and be able to make this work. And so they've done a lot of things around the office. They started painting everything. I mean, it's been a really cool last few weeks, but it's been chaotic in a good way. And then I'm also launching 2 coaching programs. I'm relaunching one with a new platform that just looks amazing. And then I'm launching a new program where it's not even at the launch stage yet. It's like a soft launch. I'm only taking a few clients through it. And it's all about optimizing. It's optimizing your money, optimizing your sales, optimizing your mindset. And it's a culmination of what I've learned in the last 5 years on how to really streamline everything. And that's the point of this podcast episode. I encourage you guys, as you are going through your practice, there's going to be inevitable ups and downs. And if you're moving into a blue ocean type arena, and if you don't know what that means, go back to some of my previous podcasts where I talk about blue oceans. For me, the TMD based arena and treating patients in that capacity has opened up my practice to things that it can be taxing at times. I get it. It can be time consuming at times, but it's so rewarding when you have patients you can help that have seen literally everyone else, and nobody's been able to put the pieces together, and you're able to do that. It's a ton of fun. But the key with all of it is to understand how your practice operates and simplify stuff, and get some policies and some systems on how you do things that are living and breathing and can be changed, modified, and adapt at a moment's notice. So literally, as I'm going through this right now and starting to take my show on the road, so to speak, I sat with my assistant. I said, okay, if we did a case right now from start to finish with this approach, what would we need? And I actually found an auxiliary manual that I wrote about 4 years ago that's about 100 pages long, and it literally breaks down everything an assistant would need to do a case, everything a hygienist would need to do a case, everything an office manager would need to do a case. And I went through it. I was like, this is actually really good. I forgot that I even wrote it to that level of detail. And so then I brought it out with her and I said, okay, so there's the item list, like what actually needs to happen. How do you do it? And then we started to say, do we even need that? Do we need that anymore? Do we need this anymore? Could we make this work in Philadelphia without ever having to use this piece of equipment? And I'm telling you, it's that iteration of what you do. It's the constant refinement of what you do in your practice that will truly separate you as a master. If you are interested in doing more comprehensive based dentistry, I cannot stress this enough. You have to do it, you have to do a lot of it, and you have to constantly iterate your offer and how you deliver that in your practice. And when you do that, a couple things happen. I've gotten a lot better with communication with patients. I've gotten even better with communication with my team now. And now I'm able to relay information to complete new offices, or, hey, we need this, this, and this. I can't tell you how important that constant refinement process is. So as you're going through your own practice, look at the things you do incredibly well and ask yourself this question: could I do this better? And if so, how? Right? And the reality is you can always do it better. And I will tell you, when you start to get into that refinement process, you will find ways to save money. You'll find ways to invest better than just simply spend. You'll find better ways to communicate. You'll find better ways to help your team get on board with it. But it takes a constant refinement. You don't just the reason that policies and systems do not work for 99.9% of offices is they write the policy, they write the system, they put it in a binder, they put it on a shelf, and they never look at it again for years, and people don't even remember what that policy was. You have to find things that you do incredibly well and say, what are we doing here? How are we doing this? How can we make this better? And it's got to be a living, breathing organism. That's why I love recording videos or having manuals that you can constantly go back to and really update and keep it relevant and fresh, right? So I encourage you guys, as you're going through this, make sure you're doing that on a quarterly basis. That's what I tell all my clients. Like every quarter, you might not have to have an office meeting dedicated to refining every step of your process, but every quarter you should at least go through that manual at least once and say, is there anything here that's blaringly obvious that it's no longer relevant to our practice? And if so, are we going to just delete it, or are we going to recreate it, or what are we going to do with it? Dentists look at that as a waste of time. We've already done it. We don't need to do it. I am telling you, the constant refinement of what you already do well and how to make it better is what's going to differentiate you in your practice to make sure you're still viable. If we weren't doing that right now and we just did bread and butter dentistry at 3 days a week, we could probably do it for the next year, maybe even a year and a half. But 5 years, 10 years from now, we would not be competitive in this marketplace. We would cease to be relevant. We are always reinventing our practice. Our practice is not something that's static. You do it one time, you recreate a policy and system, and you never touch it again. It's always changing. So you have to be willing to spend the time to actually change it. And every time you do, you come at it from a new level of awareness. I'm going back through stuff that I went through five years ago. I said, I'm operating at a totally different level, right? And there's actually some things that I'm doing better than I was before, and there's some things that I'm not doing as well anymore. So then I have to go back and say, okay, the things that I'm not doing well, how do I make them better again? Constantly go back, refine your process. If you did that over and over and over again, you will be amazed at how fast and how far you can come in 6 months to a year time. So as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you have any questions for me or anything, the soft launch that I'm doing, if you're interested in learning more about money organization, time organization, systems, optimizing yourself, your total body health, fitness, all of those things are going to be covered in the new program that I'm taking my clients through. And I would encourage you, if you're interested, to reach out to me. I'm only taking a few clients right now with this. I really want to make sure that this program is dynamite. And in order to do that, I can only work with a handful of clients at any one given point in time as I'm building things out. So I encourage you to reach out to me if you're interested in that. I'm gonna leave a link in the bio that actually takes you directly to my scheduling page, so I can get on a call with you. And if there's any questions that I can answer, or maybe you're interested in learning more about building a wellness-based practice, I encourage you to go to that link and reach out to me. And be happy to spend some time with you and see if I can help you go where you want to go. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schultz. We'll see you on the next episode.